musical fairy tale by Nagle and Dwayne Parks. The room was filled with loud music playing. Jennifer was on the computer while talking to her friend on the phone about what happened during the day's events. She knew she had a deadline to finish her English homework, but could not get a grasp on what to do. Her parents entered the room and asked her politely to turn down the music, and then came the nightly question, "Do you have homework?" Jennifer listened to her parents and turned down the music and said she did have homework. But she just couldn't get into it. She had to be creative, and that was the last thing she was feeling this evening. Father took her phone, said goodnight to her friend, put the phone to the side, and told Jennifer it's time to sit down, relax, and let your imagination flow. Jennifer felt that she hadn't used her imagination in quite a while. She let her phone and her computer do all that for her. But now it was time for her to use her own creativity and imagination. So Jennifer repeated the word over and over and over. Imagination. Imagination. Imagination.
Once, in a mystical time and in a mythical land, there was a village called Notwant. It was a very affluent hamlet, filled with bakeries, toy shops, and tailors.
Once in a land, a place warm and sunny, so long ago, the rivers flowed with honey, the butterflies danced on the green grass lilies, the dragons play, and sometimes act so silly, the bees that sing.
Gold. In the center of the town was the fountain that poured wine for the elders and punch for the children. The villagers had no needs or wants, and they all lived together in perfect peace.
Laughing frogs, and leaping blizzards, and ostrich pigs, flowers in a blizzard, with cows and pigs. Side by side, that's the way, and all of our days.
Jennifer's imagination took her to a village she created called Notwant. All of a sudden, Jennifer found herself immersed in the story. She wrote, "Out came the town crier and said, 'Good people of Notwant, attention, attention! I have news from afar. In 4 days the royal family will be visiting this fair village. They will be inspecting the town of Notwant to see if it's a suitable place for their new home. We must prepare and make them welcome.'" Well, the elders of the village, Carson and Tessa, told the villagers that they would surely be chosen as the village for the new home of the royal family. They had the most beautiful town and town square in all of the villages around, and their gardens, well, they were most impressive. Tessa pulled Carson to the side and said, "I'm not sure of this, Carson. I know our hearts and doors are always open to strangers, and kindness is something we value very highly. It's just that, are we not perfectly happy with the way things are?"
Just appreciate what we have. Power and wealth aren't important. It's what's inside of your heart and the way that you use it.
Don't play on people's feelings, you know that's not the way. Kindness is something we must not hide away. Don't play with people's feelings, you know that's not the way. Kindness is something we must not hide away. Hide away.
We can fight amongst ourselves, but why?
All I'm saying is that we should be careful.
Opportunity has come knocking. We should see who's at the door. The only way to find all the answers is to open your eyes and explore.
Don't play on people's feelings, you know that's not the way. Kindness is something we must not hide away. Don't play on people's feelings, you know that's not the way. Kindness is something we must not hide away. Hide away.
Carson said to Tessa, "Everything will work out for the best, I am sure." But Tessa was still a little leery. The villagers sensed that Tessa was uncertain of what the royal family would bring to their village. Diana, one of the youngers of the village, asked a very interesting question. She said, "But what if the royal family are not like us?" Once again, Carson assured them that things will work out. But they will have to wait and see what happens when the royal family arrives. Anyway, they have nothing to hide. The villagers quickly spoke up and said at the same time, "Well, what about Zarin?" Tessa agreed, and she said to the villagers, "We all know how special Zarin is to us. We must go to him and tell him of this news. He will know what to do, but I think we should try to persuade him to stay out of the royal family's sight, just for now." Carson agreed with Tessa, for you see, it was because of Zarin and his magical dream-weaving powers that the villagers lived in such a beautiful hamlet. Willem, the youngest of the village, spoke up and said, "What if Zarin wants to meet the new king?" Carson said to Willem, "That is a question that's on my mind as well." Tessa encouraged Carson to gather his belongings and head on his journey to speak to Zarin. The villagers wished Carson well and to be careful, and soon Carson was on his way. Now Jennifer was getting into this wonderful fairy tale she was writing. She continued writing at a new fast pace. So Jennifer wrote, "Soon Carson, on the advice of the villagers, with his traveling bag, food and water, was on his journey. He walked through the woods for an extremely long time until he finally came upon the cottage of Zarin. Now Zarin was very special, as he possessed a magical gift that served only the villagers of Notwant. So Carson informed Zarin of the impending arrival of the royal family. Carson realized they could not tell Zarin what to do, but the villagers were concerned about the situation. Notwant is a special place, and it's because of Zarin. Zarin replied, "The villagers have provided well for us. You have given us a peaceful home and a loving place to live. If you think it's not wise for me to meet this new king, then by all means I will abide by your wishes. I can see why you were also concerned." And Carson thanks Zarin for understanding. Carson also reminded Zarin it was because of him that they all had everything they wanted. Then Carson asked Zarin how should they prepare for the arrival. Zarin was not sure and was soon interrupted by his granddaughter, Zaka, coming home. Zaka said, "Hello, I'm home. You should see all the..." "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't know we had visitors. Please forgive me for interrupting." As Zaka talked to Carson, Zarin filled Carson's bag with fresh berries and mountain spring water. Carson realized he had a long walk back. He said his goodbyes to Zarin and Zaka, and Zarin asked Zaka to sit by him as he informed him why Carson was there. Zarin wasn't sure where to start, and Zaka said, "Why not at the beginning?" Zarin said, "I guess you are right, and that's probably the best place." Zarin started speaking again. "So you see, a long time ago, when I was a young person, I met your grandfather, Camille. I fell in love with him for the first time we met. Not long after we were married, we packed up all our belongings and moved from the Southlands to this valley and built our home. It was a year later we had your mother, Rayella. The village had just begun to build and build and build and was becoming a beautiful, beautiful place. And it attracted people who were looking for a better life and a better place to live. And so we all worked together. As years passed, your mother grew into a young, beautiful woman who all adored, especially one particular young man. His name was Ezed. Zaka jumped up and said, "That's my father, that's my father." Zarin said, "Please, Zaka, a little patience, please." Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Your father was one of the most handsome of all the young men in the village. He fell madly in love with your mother, and for the first time he saw her, and the same with her about your father. They fell in love instantly, and their love grew so strong for one another that one day, when your mother was asked what she wanted more than anything, her reply was, "I do not want anything other than Ezid's love. His love is enough." Oh, on the day they were married, it was a glorious day, and everyone from the valley attended the ceremony. And in celebration of that joyous day, the villagers honored Rayella by giving the beautiful village the name of Notwant. 2 years later, a child was born to them, and that was you, Zaka. The village had really begun to flourish by this time. Jennifer's mind could not stop writing this wonderful tale, and so she continued. She wrote, "It was around Zaka's 4th birthday that the town folk have nearly completed a water canal. There was a terrible accident. A wall collapsed and buried Ezid. When Rayella received the news, she was devastated. And so she ran away into the woods. There she came upon an old tree, and she laid down to cry. But this was no ordinary tree, as it was the sleeping tree of the Dreammaker. As she wept upon the roots, she awakened the Dreammaker. Rayella pleaded with the Dreammaker to help her, but there was nothing she could do to help bring back Ezid. But there was one thing that the Dreammaker could do, because of their love was so strong for one another. She granted Rayella this wish, one eternal dream where they would be together forever. But Zarin told Zaka that dream would come with a price. Zaka questioned a price? What would the Dreammaker need? Zarin explained to Zaka. The Dreammaker vowed that Notwant would always be a place of peace and happiness, a place that had no needs, no wants, and where all bad or broken dreams are mended. But the Dreammaker would need help. She would need a Dreamweaver. Zaka again questioned. A Dreamweaver? Where does this Dreamweaver come from? Zarin sighed and said, "You see, that night Rayella ran into the woods. I went to find her. I searched endlessly and finally came upon her lying at the foot of the Dreammaker's tree. But by the time I arrived, the Dreammaker had already granted her wish." As Zarin stood there grieving, the Dreammaker appealed to her and told her that Rayella had asked for her. The Dreammaker showed Zarin the beautiful vision she had created for Rayella and Ezid. Zarin was so grateful to the Dreammaker's vision, but her heart was heavy with grief for the love and loss of their daughter and Ezid, and Zaka's loss as well. Zarin explained to Zaka he told the Dreammaker he would do anything to help ease their suffering. The Dreammaker said she needed help. She would need a Dreamweaver. Zaka's eyes questioned his grandmother. Dreamweaver? Where does this Dreamweaver come from? As Zarin continued her story, it was then that the Dreammaker asked Zarin to be the Dreamweaver. The Dreammaker told Zarin of her vow to Notwant. She told Zarin, by accepting this task, that she would always be available to keep the love and memories of Rayella and Ezid's memory alive in Zaka and in her heart and mind. Zarin has kept a secret from Zaka for many years, and so have the villagers. But there's a reason now. Carson had come to tell Zarin of the arrival of the new royal family, and the village was very concerned about this. They did not want the royal family to know about Zarin. Zaka assured that the secret was safe. Zarin said to Zaka, "No, my child, it is our secret." It was time to tell Zaka, for you see, Zarin is getting old, and because Zaka is a child of the young lovers, she will have to carry on the task of being the Dreamweaver when the time comes.
One thing I can say, the point I'd like to make. The one thing I can say, I hope was not my mistake. In the broken dreams, always just in time. In the broken dreams, for their peace of mind. When the broken dreams, always just in time. When the broken dreams, for their peace of mind. All the lost feelings of love, all the tears that are cried, the more these dreams break, the harder I must try. The shattered scenes and disillusioned lies, you must understand. Love is the reason why. In the broken dreams, always just in time. Then the broken dreams, for their peace of mind. Then the broken dreams, always just in time. Then the broken dreams, for their peace of mind. Then the broken dreams, for their
Jennifer was getting so caught up in the story. She wrote how the days passed quickly, and on the morning of the 4th, the town choir came to the town square and shouted in excitement, "Attention, good people of Notwant, attention! Prepare the way of the royal family. They are coming. They are coming. Please make way for the royal court. Attention! Following the royal trumpeter was Princess Menza, Queen Morganzia, and King Mozak himself. The king bowed and looked at the villagers and said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are too kind, and what a lovely reception." And he said to his wife, "Don't you think it's a lovely reception, Morganzia?" Morganzia said with a sneer, "Yes, dear, whatever." Princess Menza was so excited. "Oh, Father, this has to be one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen. Everything is so alive." King Mozak said to his daughter, "Yes, my dear, you're quite right. I think maybe we found a new home." Suddenly, Morganza's ears perked up and said, "What? Oh, no, don't be too hasty, Mozak. I haven't been to any of the shops yet. We have to get a good look at everything that will be available to us. No stone should be left unturned. We need to know everything there is about this village." Mozak said sheepishly, "Yes, my dear, anything you say, my dear." Morganzia cut him off and said, "Well, go find out who is in charge of this place." Just then, Carson stepped up and said, "If I may be allowed to address the royal family." Mozak said, "Oh, by all means, please." Carson said to King Mozak, "Thank you, and welcome. Welcome to our humble village, King Mozak, Queen Morganzia, and Princess Menza. We were preparing for you and awaiting your arrival. I am Carson. Please feel free to look around at all, at your leisure. Anything you want or just need, just ask." Mozak was beside himself and said, "Oh, thank you so much. You're too kind." And again, Morganzia interrupted. "Yes, it's nice, too nice. I want to know how your village can afford to throw such a reception. And shouldn't you be at work?" Carson cleared his throat and said, "Yes, well, we are a thrifty village, Your Highness, and we closed all the shops today in honor of your arrival." Mozak said gleefully, "Very good. How nice. Isn't that nice to hear, my dear?" Morganzia once again interrupted. "It's not good or nice, whatever. Just go and open all the shops now. I will have to inspect each and every one of your businesses if we are to even consider living in a place like this." Carson sighed and said, "Yes, by all means, Your Highness. Right away. Quickly, everyone, go to your shops and stores, open your doors, and make the necessary preparations for the royal family. Now, hurry!" King Mozak pulled the queen to the side and said, "Morganzia, don't you think you're being a little, well, pushy?" Morganzia was insulted and said, "Pushy? Me pushy? If this is going to be our new home, then we must inspect every nook and cranny. I have to know every detail about everything here. I don't know what it is, but there's something about this place that I can't put my finger on. It's all nearly too perfect." Princess Menza jumped in and said to her mother, "I just think these good people take pride in their wonderful little village." Morganzia quickly silenced her daughter and said, "My dear daughter, the first thing you should know is that pride does not get you gold. That's the important issue here. And I wonder where they got all of theirs." Carson comes forward to the royal family and once again asks if he may address them. "All has been made ready for you," Carson said. And to Queen Morganzia, "Please come." Morganzia says, "Good, come along, Mozak. Now." King Mozak says, "Yes, dear, right behind you, my dear." They follow Carson. Princess Menza has stayed behind and saw some of the village children playing some game, and they were doing a wonderful chant. Princess Menza listened to the children continuing playing their game and singing that chant. "Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver, when we go to sleep, show us sights of wonder and visions that are sweet. Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver, fix the broken dream. He makes them all good with his magic moonbeams. Princess Minja, watching the children, and she was enthralled. She decided to jump in and join them. Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver, when we go to sleep, show us sights of wonder and visions that are sweet. Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver, fix a broken dream. He makes them all good with his magic moonbeams. Princess Menza was caught in the moment, and she kept chanting, Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver. All of a sudden, Willems realized the princess had joined them and said, Your Highness, I'm sorry we did not see you. May we help you? Princess Menza said, Excuse me, I did not mean to make you stop. I was wanting to join you. One of the other children said, You may do anything you like, Your Highness. Princess Menza said, Please, my name is Menza, and I hope we can be friends. That was a beautiful song. I never heard that chant before. What does it mean? One of the children said, It's very nice to meet you, Menza. My name is Zena. Willem interrupted and said, I am Willem. Another child said, Your Highness. And Princess Menza again said, Please, don't call me that. I am Menza. And then they said, I am sorry, Your Highness. And they caught themselves and said, Menza. They all laughed. Zena asked, Would you like to play with us? Menza said, Oh, yes, and thank you, I would like that. But please, first tell me about that song. Where did you learn it from? Who is this Dreamweaver? Zena said, Promise not to say anything about this to anyone else? Cross your heart? Menza spoke, I promise. Then Zena said, You see, I'm not real sure, but it's about a Dreamweaver who lives deep in the woods in a very beautiful treehouse. The Dreamweaver is wonderful. He takes the light of the moon and makes all our dreams fulfilled. All of a sudden, Willem overheard what was happening and said, Zena, that's enough. That's just an old fairy tale, and it's just a song that has been passed down through the generations in our village. That's it, and that's all. Zena was sad. I'm sorry, Willem. I did not mean to say anything wrong. Willem put his arms around her and said, It's all right. I know you meant no harm. Menza said to them, Please, you can trust me. I will not speak of this. It will be our secret. Willem said, Well, all right, but there is no secret. The Dreamweaver is just a made-up story. We must go now to our homes. It's time for us to go. We have our daily chores to do. You have a good day, Your Highness. Then she said goodbye to the children. Menza stood alone. She was imaginative. How fascinating. A Dreamweaver who lives in the woods and uses a magical beam of moonlight to make dreams come true. How wonderful.
See 1,000 images and all in just one night.
Jennifer jots down that Queen Maganzia listens in and is intrigued to hear about this Dreamweaver who can take moonbeams and turn them into dreams. After Menza sang her beautiful song, she said, "Please, Dreamweaver, hear my wish." Meanwhile, Queen Maganzia was standing in the shadows and was rubbing her hands. She had a plotting look on her face. She yelled out, "God, God, come quick!" The guard entered and asked Queen Maganzia what she needed. The queen informed him, "I just overheard my daughter talking about a moonbeam Dreamweaver, something like that. Find out about him or whoever." The guard said, "Yes, Queen Maganzia, at your command." The queen yelled, "Well, get going!" Maganzia said to herself, "Good help is hard to find these days." Jennifer was tired, but she continued writing. Next she wrote, "A few days passed, and finally a decision was handed down by the royal family. The town crier entered, shouting once again, 'Attention, good people of Notwant, attention! The fair village of Notwant has been selected by the royal family as their new home.'" Jennifer wrote, "At first the villagers were worried and concerned, but that quickly passed and things returned to normal. The palace was completed and the royal family moved in. Everyone went about their business as usual, until one day. Attention, good people of Notwant, attention! The town crier recited a new law that has been passed in the kingdom by the good King Mozak. All villagers are now required to pay a new tax to help build a bigger royal palace. Everyone will be required to pay 40 gold pieces at the beginning of each month." Some villagers were shouting, "Insane! This is ridiculous! I can't believe my ears! I never heard of such a thing. Who does he think he is?" Rihanna said, "Well, he's the king." Tessa said to Carson, "I told you no good would come of this. And they will probably just keep wanting more and more and more." The villagers were so sad because they worked so hard to make the village the way it was. And they did not like new changes. Someone asked Carson, "Well, doesn't the Dreamweaver give us everything that we dream for? Why can't we all dream for more gold so she can pay the king?" Tessa said, "That is a good idea. Carson, you must go and tell Zarin what has happened. She will fix this dilemma for us." The guard came busting through the crowd square and says, "Prepare the way for your queen. Prepare the way." Carson said, "Remember, no one speaks a word of Zarin. It is our secret." Queen Maganzia snaps her fingers and puts a chair out for her. "Thank you. You may all rise, good peasant." She interrupts herself. "People of Notwant, I am here today to shop for new things we will need for the new addition to the palace. We need to furnish another 50 rooms. Come, my staff. I will need you to help carry the packages. Oh yes, I forgot. My husband, your king, has passed another new law today. It is the Queen's Day, and all the shops are to be open for me. Anything I want, I get for free." And Maganzia started taking things then and there from the villagers.
I want your jewels and your gold, the clothes off your back, your watch and your rings, ooh, that looks good for a snack. I need that fur and those shoes, I think I like that hat. I have to have one of those, whatever you call that. Oh! Give me have is what I need. Give me all you got for green, green, green. Give me all you got. What you have is what I need. Give me all you got. I'm full of green, lovely green. I'll take your worthless clutch and whatever is inside, your pots and your pans, everything you hide. I'll take your clocks and your time and take it all in stride. I'll take your cash, all that you stashed, along with your pride. Oh!
Jennifer, lights out in 1 hour.
Okay, Dad.
Give me all you've got. What you have is what I need. Give me all you got for green, green, green. Give me all you got. What you have is what I need. Give me all you got. I'm full of green, lovely green.